I guess the first question is, what has these last 24 hours been like for you?
It's been a blessing. I'm just trying to take it all in. It's been, really exciting.
Has it sunk in that you're a New York Jet?
I don't think it fully has yet, but probably will hit me soon.
Why'd you start playing football?
Really just my friends did it. Then, I started taking off.
Tell me about tennis. I heard you were a pretty good tennis player.
I wouldn't say all that, but, it was pretty fun. Yeah.
When you're out in the field, do you like the run blocking or the pass blocking?
I think I'm pretty good at both, but I definitely like getting after in the run game.
What was that like getting the phone call from Darren Mougey and then talking to Aaron Glenn?
It was just pretty crazy to seeing my phone go off. It'll definitely be something I'll never forget.
I was going to say, when you look down, were you like, uh-oh, this is it? Like,
Man,
did you know, or what was?
I'm like, I hope it's not a prank call or something.
When did you know that you were pretty confident that you were going to be the Jets' pick?
I had a lot of communication with the Jets during the pre-draft process, and I'll just say, when I woke up on draft day, I had a pretty good feeling.
Aaron Glenn said that you're just the perfect fit. They just knew it was you. Why do you think you fit so well into what Aaron Glenn's trying to build here?
I just say my mentality on the football field, and also, I'm a right tackle, so I feel like that the last piece of the puzzle on the O-line.
You ready for that O-line? You got a lot of young guys on that O-line.
Of course, it's time to get to work, no doubt.
Thank you, Armand.
Thank you.
For you, Coach, when you look at what you've done with this draft so far, what do you see?
I see players that actually fit the bill of who we want to be, what our identity is going to be, what our DNA is going to be, from the tackle to the tight end to the corner. It couldn't play out any better, and I'm excited about it.
When you look at all these guys that you've drafted so far, is there a common denominator for you?
The core of all those guys are toughness, physicality, violence, aggressiveness, smart. There's a number of different traits that I can name, but those are a few, right, that comes to my mind right now when we watch every player and player that we want to actually bring on this team.
When you made Jet first phone call as a head coach of the New York Jets, was that a moment that you'll remember forever?
It is. And the thing is that I remember more than anything is just listen to the players and how they respond. And then more or less the background noise that you actually hear. And listen, it's an important time for all those guys. And listen, I remember my time when I had a chance. But to just hear that, it's awesome. And it's a good feeling as a coach because you bring a guy that is that's paid his dues, right, and that's ready to come in and get to work.
Do you give them a piece of advice? Is there something you tell these guys when you make that phone call?
I don't. I congratulate them, tell them how excited we are to draft them. And once they come here, that'll be time that we can have those conversations. But other than that, I let those guys have the moment because they put in a lot of hard work to be able to get where they're at, and I want them to just have their moment.
When you talked to Membou today, what was that like for you?
Just for him to come here and see his family and see just the background of why he's so disciplined, why he's such a good person. You could see that with his family. He had his mom, his dad, he had his sister, and listen, they are quiet people, but you could tell the discipline in their family goes a long way.
How much fun you have and just looking at these players, talking football, making dreams come true.
Listen, just being able to be with the coaches and be with the personnel staff is always fun because, listen, we're trying to build something here, and we know what we're trying to do, and, listen, we just want to move in silence and let it show up.
During 3 days of the draft, you guys added 7 players. Did you accomplish everything you wanted to with this draft?
We did. We feel really good about the players we added, and I'm excited to get them here and see how they help the team.
You added a lot of guys from the SEC. Was that going in a plan to go after the big programs?
No, it was never like an intentional plan. We go in and we just evaluate every player for what we feel like the vision and how they can help our team. There's never really a focus on the SEC. It's just the way it happened.
Your second round pick, Mason Taylor, what did you see in him? What stood out?
A good young football player, tough, instinctive, great ball skills, versatile, and still young with some upside.
You added a tight end, obviously Mason Taylor, you added a wide receiver. When you look at this pass catching unit, what do you see?
I feel like after this weekend we definitely helped the group. Like you mentioned, adding the pass catching tight end, adding the speed element. And again, I'm excited to see these guys get to work and see what we can do.
You added 4 guys to your defense. What can they add to this defense?
Those defensive pieces we add will be good young depth that will come in and compete and push the group and continue to develop. And some might have to help on special teams.
2 guys, in the secondary. When you look at your secondary, what do you see?
I see a big, talented group. They've all got like ideal height, weight, speed prototypes. They're all physical and they play their brand, so I'm excited.
When you look at the 7 guys you added going into minicamp, what are the holes that need to be filled now?
I feel like we're always looking at the roster and critiquing it. And I don't know that we necessarily have holes, we feel, but we're always going to be working to add players that we feel can help the team or just add good depth and compete.
What's been your favorite part of this process now that, for the most part, the draft is over right now?
Really all of it. From the moment I got here, jumping straight into the free agency process, the combine, and then full draft mode, it's all been really fun.
What was it like working with AG for the first time as head coach and GM?
It was great. It was everything I anticipated and more. You feel his passion. He's a great communicator, and it was awesome.
It's amazing. It's been a long process, a long time waiting. I mean, it's really exciting getting up there and being able to get up there and see all the guys and get to work. That's the main deal, and that's what I've come here to do. And it's exciting for sure. Gotta take it in. It's gotta hit me yet. It hasn't hit me yet for sure.
How cool is it for you, Mason, knowing that your dad was a New York Jet?
Yeah, it's shocking. I mean, like I said, I was just reminiscing about the times, we're running around in Central Park as a kid with my brother and my sister, my mom, and tackling each other, throwing the ball every single day, keeping us entertained. So it's crazy. I mean, time flies, and I'm really excited to get up there. So I mean, it's going to be really, really fun and a great experience for sure.
Look, I told you before, I remember you running around. For you, what's the best advice your dad has given you?
Really just be where your feet are. I mean, not be humble and hungry, and be where your feet are throughout this whole process. It's a long process, 4 months, a bunch of interviews, a bunch of work, a bunch of training. It's a long process, and it'll be a long year, but I'm ready for it. I'm really mature, and I think I know I'm ready, to go make an impact on my organization, and I can't wait to, get up there to New York and show everybody what I got.
When you look at this New York Jets team, what do you see?
With a new head coach, just a new room for opportunity. To come impact an organization. Like I said, that's the main deal. Giving them all I got, all the hard work I've been putting in. Showing them and the coaching staff that they could trust me in pressure situations and to be on that field and represent that Jet logo.
What can New York Jets fans expect from you?
A hard worker. Got to come to work every single day, be consistent. And, a guy that's going to be, making plays 100%, but in the run game and in the pass, being that complete tight end and being that answer for when you need the chains moved. It's third down, pressure situations, games on the line. The ball's going to come to me for sure.
You're a Jet. How does that sound, Arian?
It sounds good. It's kind of funny because like a lot of my teammates and people I've like met during combine training, they be calling me the Jet. And, it stuck with me. Now I just always kept thinking of my nickname's the Jet. Like everybody be calling me. And now I'm like a Jet. And it's kind of a full circle moment, man. It's kind of crazy. It's still surreal for me. And I'm just trying to, just enjoy the moment.
What was that phone call like for you, being surrounded by family? Because you're with a bunch of family and friends.
It was a lot, honestly. A lot of people just looking at me, happy for me, of course. Overwhelming in a lot of ways. And, I'm not going to ever get a feeling like that again. And I appreciate the Jets giving me an opportunity to get a phone call to change my life and, just put on for my family and give them something to, wake up every day and want to live for.
Did you have a toughness mindset? Where does that come from?
I feel like it comes from the University of Georgia. Just the program itself. Like we say the standard's very high and we stand on that. We don't, whether it's a classroom, whether it's on the field, whether it's outside of the field, we make sure we're bettering our lives in all those ways. And I feel like Coach Smart does a good job of upholding that standard and making sure we're not settling for nothing but the best for ourselves.
You had to battle through a lot of injuries. What have you learned about yourself being able to battle through and get to where you're at now?
I learned about myself, though. You can do anything you want if you put your mind to it, because injuries are not fun, and you don't play the game for injuries. So when they do happen, it's very tough for an athlete to think positive and to wake up the next day and want to, go play football, because they have a lot of dark thoughts and, moments where they question themselves and have, honestly, depression waves. And I feel like a lot of athletes have when they have injuries. So I dealt with that earlier in my career, but I just learned, if you need help, reach out. So I just learned how strong I am, and that's why I say that's one of my strengths of me is my toughness and mental and physical toughness.
Justin Fields is now your new quarterback, and Garrett Wilson. When you hear those two names, what do you think?
I'm just like, dang, I'm finna get to play with those guys. It's kind of crazy, honestly, because even watching them on Sundays and, wanting and dreaming to be in their shoes or be, just around them. So just, even having, opportunity to go, play with those type of people it's just mind blowing, honestly.
When did you know that you could become an NFL player?
I probably figured out today.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Summer with your family. I appreciate the time.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, first of all, congratulations. You're a New York Jet. How does that
Right.
feel?
It sounds amazing. It feels amazing. Definitely a surreal feeling to finally get my name called and be in the NFL.
What's it like knowing that Aaron Glenn, your new head coach, was one of the best DBs when he played the game?
It's definitely exciting. Now he's hopefully the DB is his favorite position. But I know I'm gonna learn a lot from under him. I talked to Terrion and BB back when he was at Detroit. They told me stories about Coach AG and everything. But I'm looking forward to it. Looking forward to going in there and getting ready to work, meet the guys, meet the coaches, and suck up all the information like a sponge.
You're a two-time team captain. What have you learned about yourself and as a player throughout your college career?
I would say I've definitely learned a lot, just to see the level of growth that I've had with, dealing with adversity. I'm such a competitive person, and I hate to lose in anything. We playing Uno, rock, paper, scissors, flipping a coin. Like, I just hate to lose. So I just feel like this year, God really allowed me to get closer to Him and, focus on Him and Him being the priority and not letting my circumstances, dictate how I feel, or because if the circumstance is good, you're going to be good, but if they're bad, they're going to be bad. But, you just stay consistent with Christ. You're always going to be on that level playing field.
What's it like? Do you know anything about Sauce Gardner? What's it like knowing that you're going to be able to work with him?
It's crazy because we played against him my sophomore year when he was at Cincinnati. So, I definitely been watching him. It's definitely going to be fun teaming up with one of the best corners in the league, and I'm looking forward to it.
What was that phone call like for you and your family?
It was crazy because we were just these past couple of days. It's been some ups and downs, but we just been sitting, waiting and waiting. So, when I finally got that phone call, it was an amazing feeling. Everybody was happy. I had some happy tears for sure.
When did you know that you could play in the NFL?
I would say once I started receiving a lot of offers in high school, and once I committed to Alabama, and then I went to Alabama, I knew I had a pretty good chance just because of the level of players and production that they've produced, and the guys that they put into the league, and being around the championship culture from Coach Saban to Coach DeBoer, and it definitely prepared me for this moment.